Hello, and thank you for joining us on this Wednesday afternoon. I'm Jurnee Taylor, and here's a look at some of the top stories we're following today. First, as students spend another day at home due to inclement weather, Little Rock School District is now contemplating how to make up snow days. Plus, when the Arctic blast took over Central Arkansas, the First Presbyterian Church in Jacksonville opened its doors. Now, with help at a larger demand, they are leaning on the public for resources. And as the focus in the Republican presidential nominations shift their focuses to New Hampshire, all three GOP candidates will be in the Granite State today. But first, let's get to the talker of the day, weather. Meteorologist Nathan Scott, we broke a winter record this morning, and now we're seeing a decent warm-up as well. We got a lot going on.
Good afternoon, Jurnee. It was cold out there this morning, bone-chilling cold. The temperature dropped down to 1 above 0 at Little Rock Airport. Other numbers, 2 below 0 in Clinton, 5 above in Hot Springs, 9 in Stuttgart, and that 1 above 0 here in Little Rock smashes the old record of 5 set back in 1982. But look at the recovery we have made just in the past few hours. We're flirting with freezing. Yes, finally, it's going to get above freezing out there today. 31 in Little Rock, 31 Hot Springs, 31 Arkadelphia. And the white that you see right there, that is still the snow cover in place across a large part of the natural state. We are 14 to as much as 17 degrees warmer than what we were seeing this time yesterday. Actually 21 degrees warmer in Harrison, and it's not just because the sun, it's because the winds from the south-southwest bringing in some warmer air. So temperatures today climbing up into the mid to upper 30s. But we're not done with the chance of a little bit of wintry weather for late tonight into your Thursday. I am watching out for the potential there could be a little bit of light freezing drizzle or freezing rain. More on that coming up.
All right, Nathan, thank you. But new at noon earlier today, several counties in Arkansas saw a jump in power outages due to the low temperatures. Just before 7 o'clock this morning, there were more than 7,300 customers without power. That number now sits just above 2,000, with the majority still in Saline and Garland counties. Energy and First Electric Cooperative of Saline County are still working to restore power to people impacted in those areas. And new at noon, the city of Payneburg still experiencing major water loss today. And wastewater department posted on their Facebook stating due to pump issues, their tanks are without water. Now they're temporarily relying on rain for rent for their water supply. They have emergency crews on site and notify customers they will still need to boil their water even after the water is restored. And another update, Lone Oak remains under a water conservation order. The city's public works department says leaks and continuous flows of water in homes led to a real risk of running out of water. Fortunately, at this point, that risk seems to be gone. However, they are still dealing with some yellowish discoloration. Officials say their engineering chemists will be there today working on that. Although the water is safe to drink, they say you should avoid doing any laundry if you can until they get the color back to normal. And many students are home for another snow day, and in recent years, AMI, alternative methods of instruction, meant kids still had to do homework or assignments when the weather canceled school. But after backlash to the perceived shortfalls of at-home learning during the pandemic, AMI days are done. THV 11's Ashley Godwin hears how this change is being felt in Little Rock.
I've heard from several parents and teachers about whether they think AMI days are good or bad, but here's how it's going to impact students for the rest of the school year.
I think AMI was working really well.
I just really think the kids need to be in school.
After lawmakers erased the idea of doing classwork at home coming out of the pandemic, there's been a split on what to do now that weather is closing schools. Jamie Sims, a former teacher, says students should learn in a classroom, not at home.
I think going back and getting into the traditional days, letting these kids have a real snow day is not going to hurt anyone.
But Central High Spanish teacher Marco Dorfsman says the tech works now and days missed won't really count the same if they're made up in late May.
But the fact is, by now, we had ironed out all the kinks.
By law, students have to have 178 days of instruction, which is why the AMI days worked great for some teachers. This meant they could still have class without having to make up the day later.
Really, what parent want to go to still have to worry about school in June? I know I wouldn't.
According to board member Vicki Hatter, the administration has two options to make up the missed classes. They can make up those days at the end of the year or break down the missed days into minutes and add additional time to the end of each school day.
Our superintendent will bring that to us, and if he wants to extend the days instead of add days at the end of the school year.
Well, meanwhile, with low temperatures taking over central Arkansas, warming centers are seeing a rise in popularity. The First Presbyterian Church in Jacksonville, for instance, has had their doors open for anyone in need. Now, this time around, more people are using the center than before, which also means there is a greater need for volunteers to step up. Jacksonville Mayor Jeff Elmore says there is a lot of more people using the center than in the past, and that brings a bigger need for volunteers. So he put out a call on Facebook and got a huge response.
We've had people who've just shown up and said, hey, what can I do? Or can I go get something? What do you need? So yeah, the residents of our city have stepped up in a big way.
But it's not just residents stepping up. Mayor Elmore has stuck around volunteering every day they've been open. Going forward, though, the church says they plan to keep a bed and hot meal ready. You can find more information on local warming centers on our website, thb11.com. And a THB11 update, the owners of a beloved bakery in Conway still searching for answers after a fire destroyed one of their buildings. Fire crews responded to Patty Cake's Bakery on Front Street just after 6:15 Monday night to put out the flames. The fire chief says thankfully no one was hurt, but the cause of the fire is still under investigation. For now, part of the street in front of Patty Cake's is closed off because of safety concerns near the already demolished building.
This is going to impact not just a handful of businesses, but the ripple effect that this fire is going to have on the community might be felt for quite some time.
City officials are asking everyone to stay away from the area for the time being. Patty Cakes and Palmer Music Company are closed until further notice. And another update, we're learning Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin has filed a motion to dismiss the attorney hired by the Arkansas Board of Corrections. The motion claims state leaders can only hire special counsel under certain conditions, and Griffin says those were not met in this case. It comes in the middle of a legal fight between the state and Board of Corrections over Governor Sarah Sanders' plan to quickly add more beds in prisons. Well, as the race for the Republican presidential nomination continues, the focus is now on New Hampshire. Polls show Trump is ahead, but not nearly as much as in Iowa, while Nikki Haley is polling a close second. Caitlin Huey-Burns has more.
The clerk will report the motion to invoke cloture.
Cloture motion.
And it appears that we may have some technical difficulties with that package. We'll try to bring it back soon. Now on Capitol Hill, Congress members work on a short-term spending bill to keep the government open until March. The temporary bill allows congressional negotiators to continue working on a long-term deal. Over the weekend, members of the House reached a deal that caps the total amount of money to be spent in the long-term spending bill. But many House Republicans say they're not happy with the deal. Now, despite the pushback from some on the right, House leadership is confident it can pass the bill. But with a narrow majority in the House, Republicans will need support from House Democrats to pass the bill. A troubling new report from the American Cancer Society finds colon and breast cancer are on the rise in young people. Coming up, why health officials are recommending more advanced screenings. Nathan?
Sunshine and warmer temperatures will climb above freezing. We'll see significant snow melt across the area. Small chance we could see some freezing rain or freezing drizzle to begin your Thursday. Then another blast of Arctic air moves in. More details on all that next.